Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, HSAC friends.
Morning, Jonathan.
Good
And
morning,
everyone else. Morning, Dr. Birch.
Good
Ruby.
morning, Lady Vic Lewis. How are you?
I'm doing very well, sir. Thank you for asking.
I like that title for you, Lady Vic Lewis. I like that. Feels very British.
Good morning, Hanalea and Helen and Ruby.
Morning. Good morning, everyone.
Is Colin coming on? And I think we should wait a few more minutes before starting. Oh, hey, Colin.
Good morning.
Colin, forgive me for getting those minutes out so late the other day.
Oh, no worries. We had no email for 2 days at the city.
Oh, shoot. I shouldn't have said nothing.
You're all good. You're all good. Angel and I apologize. Angel and I only got yesterday able to sort of put together an agenda for today. So you're doing better than we are, Dr. Birch. I'll put that in the chat right now.
With the email,
Yeah, we're all in this together. Long
We're
we
doing
on
the best.
time.
Exactly. We do the best we can.
Yes, yes, we are.
Hmm.
Francis. You're not waiting on me, right?
I
Or we're
think
waiting
we're-
on the quorum. Do we have a quorum? Let me see.
But we're just waiting on Sharita, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Sharita. Good morning, Lloyd.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be with you. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Miss Angel, we do have a quorum if you want to start.
Oh, okay. Sure. Good morning, everyone. I guess I'm bringing this meeting together, December the 3rd, 2021, HSAC meeting. I mean, y'all can give me some help. You know, I'm still new at this.
You're good. You welcomed us. Now we can approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Ask for a motion for that.
I see it now. All right, yep, I'm sorry, everyone. Number two, we're gonna approve the minutes that Dr. Birch had sent out for you all.
Angel, I move that we adopt or approve the minutes as submitted by Dr. Birch.
Well, thank you so much.
Second,
Right. Was that Helen that second or?
yes, Helen second.
Are these the minutes?
Yeah, for the.
Okay, okay.
Good morning, Sharita.
Good morning, sorry I'm late.
Not a problem. We're just getting started. Okay, so I guess we're moving along to number three, so we can set the agenda for the December HSAC meeting. I guess the first one is the committee update. Would that be
Yeah.
you, Colin?
I think it's the executive committee this time, if I'm reading our pattern correctly. Does that sound right to you, Ruby?
Yeah, executive committee.
'Cause I think we did, I think it's executive committee, policy and planning, performance management, and then back to executive committee.
Yes, it's on the agenda planning document.
Do that. And then I know we had talked, sorry, Angel, do you mind if I jump in on the DHA
Okay.
piece?
I don't see
Just
the
to-
one that, go ahead.
At our last meeting, we had talked about inviting DHA to come to our December meeting because it'd be a full HSAC COC meeting to sort of talk about where they are with housing vouchers, development, all the different things that they've got going on, answer questions. We did invite them to our December meeting. Unfortunately, was this the third week of December? They have a standing board meeting that same day, same time. So none of the key people that we need to be at the meeting are going to be able to come to our meeting because they got to be part of a board meeting that they have to be present at. So the question is, do we want to try and invite them in a different month? And if so, we'll need to make sure that it's during one of the months where we're not on a third Thursday. See if there's a fourth Thursday or a special meeting or some other time to be able to get them to be able to be present for that type of presentation.
Could we ask them to come in January and make it a full CLC meeting again? Because I think that it being a full CLC meeting is important.
Sharita, January is a third Wednesday as well because the pit count is the fourth Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
We might have to go to what, February?
Yeah.
And I don't mind either way doing it, and we'll just invite, we can send the invitation for, it's an open, HSAC meetings are open meetings, and we can make sure we send the invitation to all of the COC members, informing them if the fourth Wednesday in February works for them, we can invite them, and that gives them a couple months' notice to see if that works. We could offer, is March 4th as well? Does anybody know?
Do you know when their RFP closes?
Not off
It's
the top of-
January something. Give me 1 second.
I'm just saying, because I would rather it be, in my opinion, the earlier it can be in the beginning of the year when they're embarking on all these new things, the better. So that the continuum, knows what's going on, know who, by then, by February, they'll know who hopefully know who the players are going to be, who's going to be helping with that program, things like that. I mean, it's unfortunate they can't come in December because it already makes us kind of too late to possibly influence some of this. But I think that the longer we wait until the beginning of the year, the worse off it's going to be.
Their RFP closes January 12th.
So we can offer, so if I'm hearing you correctly, Sharita, your preference would be offer it to them in January. And if there's a conflict, February would be the second choice.
Well, I don't, if their meeting is gonna be on the third week, then it, that January just might be off the table, but like looking at March or April, I think is pushing it.
Okay. Okay, I can check. We're guessing that the third week is a difficult time, but we will offer, we can offer the January as our first choice. If they do have a board conflict, we'll ask them for the February meeting. And we won't offer March unless they come back and say there's an issue with February as well.
So if I didn't hear it right, didn't it just say, someone just mentioned that January wasn't a good time, so why?
It was Karen, let me see if I can find the email, because Karen sent the invitation and they came back, and she and I, when we read the email, they didn't say January wouldn't work, but the way the email was written, it sounded like they had a meeting every third Wednesday. We're not 100% sure. And that's what Karen and I were talking about. She said, should I offer them January? But looking at the way they wrote their email, if it's the third Wednesday of January, it may be problematic. And I said, hold off on doing an invitation until we met this morning so that we as a group could talk through what our preference would be, because I didn't want her inviting in January when we didn't have a full COC meeting scheduled, and wanted to make sure that whatever we do, we try and send one invitation with either one date or two dates. So we had a plan. And since that just came up yesterday, we were meeting this morning, I figured a 24-hour delay wouldn't be a major issue.
Okay, since y'all met yesterday, so the first date is out of the water. You can't do the first date, so you could just ask about the January. That's what you said today. You're gonna have Karen ask that.
Yeah, we can ask about January, and I'm trying to find the email.
Because that's a meeting that really needs to be taking place.
Where is this? Hold on a second.
While you looking at, Sharita has a comment in there, are all the full COC meetings twice a year or quarterly?
They're
I wouldn't
they're twice a year, and the next one would be in May.
Okay, thank you, Ruby.
See, that's a
I'm
long time. That's a long time to wait, because for a full COC meeting, we would have to try to get them to come sooner.
If I may
Yeah.
make a suggestion, I believe that the chair has the, I guess, sort of leeway or discretion to allow questions from, more than just the board. Perhaps if, the schedules don't seem to, match up, perhaps, Angel as chair, you can, make some, provision to allow some extra questions, given that we may not be able to get them on a full COC meeting.
Right. So my question is, who are the people that are coming to DHA? I mean, is it that is a certain people that you need to have? Is it like maybe a group that you can have and have the meeting with them, or, I'm not understanding it. Maybe someone can help.
I found the able, and basically what we got back was we would not be able to meet at that time as it conflicts with our board committee meeting. We are willing to attend at another time. So because it's a board committee meeting, we're not sure if that board committee meeting is a monthly meeting, if it's always on the same date. So before we offered the same Wednesday in January. And they might meet this might be a board committee meeting that meets quarterly or every other month. So they might not have a meeting in, well, if it's every other month, then they would have a meeting. Well, no, then they wouldn't have a meeting in January because they'd be meeting in December. So we can offer them December as that's the third Wednesday, or yeah, the third Wednesday. And if the third Wednesday there's a conflict, we could do it the fourth Wednesday in February, give them those 2 dates and state that our preference would be a January
Colin,
invitation.
I just looked at Colin, I just looked at DHA's website. This is the Development and Finance Committee meeting, and they hold those every third Wednesday of the month.
Okay,
So
so
it
it'll
would
need to be February then.
Yes.
So it can't be, you're saying it definitely cannot be January at all?
Right. We'll have the same
Correct.
conflict.
Okay, so February, what's the earliest for February? Does it look,
It-
what's their date, Ruby?
February
There-
23rd?
Right. The date for our meeting would be February 23rd. They have a Board of Commissioners meeting, but that doesn't start until 5:30. So we may be able to, that might be able to work.
Okay,
Is it Anthony that we're trying to get in the meeting or?
I think it's Anthony, and it may also need to be Danita. And there may be some other senior people. I think it's several, at least one, if not several different senior people with various expertise to be able to address specific issues and questions that come up. And that's what we're trying to do, is make sure that we get all the right people in the room at the right time, so that somebody's not like, oh, let me go back and get a response, sort of make it as real time and as meaningful for everybody as possible was the goal.
so who would be the key players to send the invitation out to, besides Anthony?
Well, and that's DHA will decide who they need to send to be able to do that. So what'll happen is the invitation will come through our office to Anthony Scott. We'll sort of explain, here are the questions that have come from the HSAC members that would like to be discussed, information provided about these topics. Then it'll be up to Anthony to figure out who from his team is most appropriate to come and address those issues. And then we'll also say, there will be open question and answer that happens. So he'll keep that in mind as well,
Okay,
as he picks the presentation team, I suppose.
it should work out, because I know they're at the implementation meetings quite often. So hopefully it'll work out. They get the invitation to them in time to get a response.
Rita, your question, give me a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had 1, 2, 3, 4. It was that came up in our chat on the last HSAC meeting. There was information on the Jobs Plus program, progress report on projects being redeveloped using money from the Affordable Housing Bond, plan to redevelop DHA projects beyond the 7 currently being planned, i.e. McDougald. Also wondering if the infrastructure bill will have a positive impact on DHA housing needs and what that looks like. And how can case managers best understand how to help clients apply for public housing, not vouchers, and find out where they are on the wait list. That's all we have at this point.
Is the window closed for questions?
No.
No,
We'll remind people again. We can remind people again at this meeting.
or when we get the date for what date that they find out, you said you might have that date today, right?
I don't know that we'll have it today. We'll,
Or-
we'll get the request sent over to Anthony either today or early next week, depending on schedules.
No, that's why I was asking, because then I was gonna say, mention that maybe that after you get the exact date,
Mhm.
that we a message to the full HSAC and let them know they still have questions that they could have, submit them or have them ready for the next HSAC meeting.
Yep.
Or when we meet on the 23rd, if that's gonna be the date.
Yep.
So you
And I
have
think-
more.
And Angel, I think you're bringing up a really good point. It's probably a good idea for us to remind people because we've got the full COC at this meeting,
Yeah,
that we make the announcement that, hey, if you've got questions that you'd like DHA to answer, we're trying to bring them in. So during the meeting, if you think of things, put it in the chat. Otherwise, you can email us questions if they come up. So I think you raise a really good point.
so will they get copies of these questions before coming to the
Mhm.
meeting? Okay, great.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the plan, is to try and get these questions collected. And since they're not coming in January and they might come in February, my hope is that we could get them the list of questions 30 days prior to, get it to them by mid-January. So they've got a month to kind of prepare a presentation to address the questions we know that people want updates on. And then if those spur other questions during the presentation, we can do so.
Yeah, that would be great. Sharita, you had a comment or your question, property update for Maureen Road and DeMar Court. Okay,
That's a question for you,
That's a
Tyler,
question.
and
Yep.
and can you add Veranda at Whittick School as well? I want to know what those applications look, what it looks like.
The
Because I have
application,
a feeling that the public assistance numbers for those units are low.
the applications for which
Yep.
project?
The ones that are for Maureen Road and Daymar Court, so they were ratted right before the bond. So I would like an update on there, as well as the senior complex at Whittick School, Veranda at Whittick School. Because some of them were market, some of them were vouchered through DHA, and I'm just wondering what those numbers look like. How many tenants are DHA tenants at Veranda, Maureen Road and Daymar Court?
Okay, and Whittick School?
Mm-hmm. Just curious. I think that we forget about those as we're looking at these new properties that are being redone, and we need to make sure that we are directing our clients to those as options too, because those are project-based vouchers. So the voucher stays with the unit.
Yep.
okay. Any more questions on this topic right here from anyone? Okay, so I guess we'll be moving on with the next one, and that is the white flag update, if I'm on the correct one.
Yeah, this area, Angel, I was trying to think of, since DHA can't present,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of trying to make a list of items that, some things, whether or not these are topics we would want to try and invite folks to speak about. And I think there was one thing we talked about in November about request for homeless assistance data
Right.
report. That I think that was something Hanaleo was going to try and pull some data for us on. I'm trying to remember the details of it. And then everything else after that, the white flag, ESG providers, homeless prevention. Those were just ideas of things that I didn't know if the executive committee would feel, or if the HSAC or COC, since we've got a full COC meeting, if there are any, this is a good time for updates to the community about how various programs are working, challenges people are seeing, things that, a good time to communicate system-wide successes and challenges.
What am I
Did-
getting data on?
I thought
Did-
there was a requests for homeless service assistance data report.
Oh, I know what that is. So that's about the conversation that this group had about wanting to try to suss out what the impact of the lifting of the eviction moratorium was on our homelessness numbers. So we had set this up a few months in advance in anticipation of it taking a while for those numbers to hit the system. And y'all wanted me to present on the what it was looking like on the front end of the system, people requesting assistance, and whether it looks like the eviction moratorium is affecting things. So yes, I can absolutely still do that if the group if that's still something the group wants.
It sounds good to me. How about you all?
I see Helen nodding her head.
No, I can't even see everyone.
Invite my cursor to unmute.
So are we setting for December?
Yes, sir.
So we got to fill in for since DHA isn't coming, so we got to, is that an empty slot?
Correct. That's what I was trying to figure out is, since we've got a full COC meeting, we don't want people coming to a meeting with, one item and we're done in 15 minutes. It's kind of what
Well,
other,
can you invite someone else?
well, that's what I was throwing out is who would we like to invite?
Well,
Don't we normally do an open invitation to the providers to present at the full COC meetings?
yeah, or since the white flag is getting ready to start, next month, you could, I guess, invite Carolyn from Open Table Ministries to give a update on what this coming year is, what she's doing this year as far as different from last year, and what they're looking forward to as well. And I guess I was looking, Jonathan, you had said something. Oh, December the 6th, okay.
Maybe I'd have to say Mayor Schul has been obviously very involved and very supportive of efforts to end homelessness here. Maybe this isn't a great idea, but it might be nice to invite the new mayor to address the group.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, Jonathan, to invite the new mayor. It goes with the job. That'll be good, if not, then in the future, near future, because he's gonna get sworn in and probably gonna be Babazo already stuck.
She gets sworn in next month, right?
She gets sworn in December 6th. So you'd be asking her to address the HSAC a week into her job.
Yeah.
And I spoke with her yesterday, and one of the things that she did say, and it sounds like Sharita must have talked to her because she brought up the same housing developments that Sharita had, and she also stated that we need to pay closer attention to Turnkey, to Rochelle Manor and those areas over there, because it doesn't seem like we're doing anything over there. So she seems to have a hand on things, but those are some areas that she did say she wanted to focus on.
Well,
That'll be good.
what your priorities are. I'm sorry, Angel.
No, go ahead, Jonathan. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, obviously a weekend, I'm sure she's got a lot to do, but, we can just sort of, keep it broad and invite her to speak on, what her priorities are in terms of addressing homelessness. Plus, I'm sure she is bringing in a, highly qualified staff to help her, something together. So, it might be nice in issuing this invitation to say right away, your
Welcome.
role is to our work, and we'd like to go ahead and establish that relationship with you.
Yeah, because she's very passionate about you know, one of the things I really liked she stated yesterday was that um, she wants to work on having different communities see each other. And that was one of her quotes, is that we need to start seeing our people and knowing what's going on in other areas of Durham and how we need to work with them to pull them up. And she said one of the things that she's going to be working on is that we don't seem to see those, you know, we pay attention to McDougal Terrace, but we have other areas that need to be
Right.
addressed. And so she really is on it. I know this week she is in mayor's meetings in Raleigh, but yeah, I think she may try to make some adjustments to come to our meeting.
Well, I'll get with Colin and send her a invite and you know, introduce ourselves with her, you know, because Mayor Shule, he was in a lot of me, he did a lot, you know, and I'm quite sure her passion is the same. You know, so
You will have a seat on the HSAC. And so we'll probably see a lot more of her, depending on if she decides to be on HSAC. That might be her prerogative, but I'll wait for the city clerk to let me know when she'll officially begin serving on HSAC.
oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
I-
Amber, the mayor's assistant, reached out to me to try to clarify what the requirement was. So I did let them know that it's technically any city council member that can do it, but that traditionally it has been the mayor, and it sounded like she'll let us know about what the mayor decides about whether she wants to do it herself or whether she would rather have another city council member serve.
She seems to me like a hands-on. I really got great confidence that she will want to be part of it to see firsthand.
She's very hands-on.
Yeah, she seems like she's hands-on, and she wants, you know, what we all want on this board is to end homelessness in Durham. So, you know, we're all in for this together.
So if I can summarize what I'm hearing to make sure I have appropriate direction, we would like to invite the new mayor, who is, I guess, technically mayor-elect right now, to address the HSAC kind of with her thoughts on homelessness and what her vision is for or priorities are for the next year or two, and perhaps respond to questions and concerns and sort of have some dialogue happening. And then
Yes.
ideally, we would like her to come to the December meeting if possible.
Yeah, at least the
And do
welcome.
that. Sure. And
Yeah.
if for some reason that schedule does not work, we could offer her the January slot as well. Does that sound reasonable?
That's fine.
Because what I found out is, even though the mayor is on the HSAC, there's a formal invitation process that we need to follow to make sure that various stakeholders are in the loop of that request. Because what happens is if we go straight to the mayor, and then it throws a wrench in certain things. So I want to make sure that we start the
Exactly.
process sooner and
Oh,
follow
okay.
the proper chains of command.
Okay.
I agree with that. What I would just add to the discussion is I think it's important for, you know, her as she's starting out to get a feel for what our community is and what we do. I think that's important. I think waiting would be a mistake. I think we need to be ahead of the game and we need to make our presence known. You guys know how I feel about our lack of advocacy. So I think that we need to be on it.
I also think we should, since we have a new police chief as well, let them, you know, welcome them to our HSAC and let them see what we're about. You know, we could introduce to each other because we haven't met with her at all either.
Okay.
I those would be good things to be doing moving forward, if not at the end of the year, but definitely for the beginning of the year, and start this year off right together, unity as one. You know, we all can come together and, you know, get this thing moving correctly and effectively. You know, we've been bamboozled for so long, and especially with the COVID, and now with this new one coming through, we don't want to slack. We want to steadily be able, and thank God we still can have these meetings virtually and, you know, stay connected. You know,
So Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it possible that we can send Mary-elect some minutes from our last meetings?
I'm not the one that can answer that. You have to ask one of those. And I'm sorry, Dr.
But
But-
I think that's
Colin?
important, just like I put in here, like inviting her to our subcommittee meetings where,
Right.
you know, a lot of the issues are broken down and problem solved. Like, I think the more that she knows up front, the same thing to the police chief, the better.
Well, I'll be in a meeting with the police chief next week. And I can get Colin on the phone while I'm in that meeting and make his hair go gray. Colin,
Make
if
my
that's
hair go
okay-
gray?
Yeah, if that's okay
bald.
with you. But I'll be in a meeting with her and the city manager. But if it's all right with you all, I think if we could send some minutes to the Mary-elect, then she can see where she can actually get to read up, you know, and not just walk in blind, but get to read up on what's going on.
Sure.
That's great. Everyone, how everyone feel about that?
Well, the minutes are public records, so there's certainly no reason not to send them.
Okay, I'll make sure she
Yep.
gets them.
Yeah, and
we do.
they're posted on the city's website, so it might just be a matter of letting them know that the city posts our minutes, but that they're posted with the clerks along with all of our other minutes. I don't know if the ones from the last meeting will be posted in time. Ruby, you might be able to speak to how long they're taking to turn around on those.
And not to you know, speak for you all as community development staff, but you know, perhaps you could even offer to brief her, or brief. I mean, I'm sure you'll probably do anyway. So, yeah.
We may just do an executive summary of the minutes, so people don't have to go through 12 documents, sort of, which is part of one of the tasks that we're going to have to do anyway, for one of our last items on our agenda today when we get to that point. All right, so I will work the official invitation channel and see if we can get her to attend our December meeting and see if she's willing to, you know, just sort of hear feedback and informal discussion, maybe not a formal speech necessarily, but hear what her thoughts are on the state of homelessness, for lack of a better term, in her first week of office, and what her priorities are, and have some conversations. I think we could
Oh,
do
that's a good, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Sharita, that is a good idea for all newly elected members that are starting off. Because I was saying we definitely need to get the police chief in, but if we could just send out an invitation, you know, welcoming everyone and letting them know what we do and how they can help us and how we can help them. Is that sort of kind of right, what you're saying, Sharita?
I would just say it might be a good idea for us, for any new leaders as they rotate into their roles, just to send them a message, tell them welcome, you know, welcome to leadership in Durham. We are the Homeless Services Advisory Committee and blah, 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 and link them to our site and where they can get all the information and learn about it, and extend the opportunity for them to join a meeting or two.
Yeah, that's great. Great website.
And we have a new
Oh.
city manager and an interim county manager. So, I mean, those folks also have very important roles as well. I don't know if, you know, if anything formal has been done for them. Sorry to jump in and cut you off, Colin. My apologies.
No, you're fine. Question, I'm just sort of looking at agenda planning document. Hanalea, the sort of looking at the eviction numbers report. What do you think, 20 minutes?
Yeah, the presentation's not going to take long, but people might have a lot of questions because it's such a topic. So yeah, I think 20 minutes will be fine.
Okay, exec committee would take maybe 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, Angel.
I should be about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
If that much.
Okay, and then we can sort of put, kind of maybe a 30 minutes for mayor introduction discussion.
Mhm.
Does that sound about right?
I guess
And
I'm
not
not
that we-
even, I'm not seeing anything. I'm just hearing, I mean, is there a screen with the minutes or
Oh,
whatever?
sure, I can share it. Hold on, sorry. Apologize for that.
You were saying 20 might be too short.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to sort of put some framework on our timeline here.
Okay,
So
I
we've
see.
got 20 to 30 minutes for, kind of eviction numbers, how it's impacting executive committee. So we're at about 35. This is just a reminder for you and me, Angel, to sort of wrap our questions about DHA into
Okay.
your announcements.
Okay.
And then a mayor introduction discussion, we could do 30 minutes. And then do we want to set aside any time for service providers to make any presentations? Because I heard Angel saying having White Flag present and sort of walk through referral processes, what can and can't happen, and set expectations might be worthwhile. I'm wondering if our homeless prevention, because we've never done homeless prevention, and we may be too early to have any kind of feedback from those providers, but that may be a group that we'd want to hear from in December or January.
Well, I know I've said Miss Carolyn's prevention program at least 3 clients in the last week.
Yeah, from over CDI, Sharita. I think I met 2 of them. I know one lady was moving out yesterday. But that's the same one.
So do we want to reach out to specific providers, or do we want to do an open call for providers?
I think it would be great to hear from the providers that are providing the service thus far. How is it going? And reminding people that they are there, reminding people of the criteria for referral so that we're not, missing opportunities for people to be connected.
All right, so you would like, so Sharita, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're talking White Flag.
Suggesting.
Right, all right, you're suggesting White Flag. You're suggesting White Flag prevention. Do you want like emergency shelter, rapid rehousing as well? Or just these kind of one-offs that are newer? Which one are you suggesting?
I think rapid rehousing would be great because I'm curious to see what problems they're having right now with the market being what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this also can just be pushed to policy and planning, but those are things that are in my brain.
Sure.
Because this is a lot of stuff, but I think it's good information is an opportunity to remind our continuum of the array of services that we have, so we can make sure people are getting connected.
I think we might be able to do an update on this if we keep it focused on the ESG COVID funds rather than a huge broad thing, just due to timing. We could probably do a larger discussion at a future meeting with, everybody involved. But once you start, I'm just thinking, we've got 2 prevention providers, 2, 3, 4 rapid rehousing providers, if you count all of our funding sources. And it would be down to 2 rapid rehousing if you only do ESG COVID.
Right, but couldn't we just ask all of them the same kind of basic questions, for them to answer, and then that would simplify it? Boom, boom,
Sure.
boom. If somebody is interested and you think your client qualifies, how? Maybe a flyer, but like ask, maybe it's 5 questions, top 5, and they just kind of spill down them. Because if you could get a huge, very long report. But if we could just simplify it out, maybe about 5 questions of information that we really want to know, and just have them report on that.
That sounds great.
Okay, so let's see if we can come up with what are the questions that we would like each of these to answer. How to access services, I hear is one.
How's it going? So far, maybe some kind of brief thing, how many people have you served, not that kind of stuff.
Okay. I think I heard somebody, I think it was you, Sharita, saying challenges.
Yep.
Yeah, challenges.
Okay.
Because I know with the prevention is because of some of the specific qualifying timelines, it is definitely a challenge. And people get scared having to wait 14 to 10 days before they got to get out in order for something to happen. So that kind of stuff.
Well, and ERAP is a better eviction prevention piece. That's another thing that we need to think about doing in possibly January, is an ERAP 2 update. Because we'll put that down here.
Just a heads up that I think we've put a lot in the January meeting.
What's in the January meeting?
Then we put the DHV.
DHA is in February.
Oh, okay, got it.
Because ERAP 2 is going to be shifting from DSS to legal aid. So it might be worth having legal aid share, possibly.
And we have quite a few questions in the chat too.
Yep.
After you finish with that.
Eligibility.
Jonathan has something, and Helen.
I can do how to access services /
So I was just asking.
So that would be, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jonathan.
I was just asking whether like how to access services. I mean, pretty much we're at coordinated entry at this point, right? So everybody really needs to be going through there. But I think Sharita raised another issue, is that Carolyn is getting a lot of calls from people who've been referred from coordinated entry but don't qualify. So I just sort of was wondering, kind of what's the big issue we want to review? Is it how to access it? Is it eligibility, or is it another issue altogether with the screening criteria that entry point is?
So so a prevention client, should we be directing a prevention client to coordinated entry if they're not homeless? And they're not within the 14 days of losing their place? Because the people that I've sent to Carolyn, they haven't gone through the Durham housing coordinated entry, because they technically are not homeless yet.
That's fine.
They're trying to get help before.
It's in either situation. They can, if you think they're appropriate work for Carolyn's program, that's fine. If they're otherwise, they can go through coordinated entry. It's not a requirement that they go through coordinated entry before going to Carolyn. Either is fine. Whatever you think is most appropriate for that given client.
But is it fair to assume that the families who are, and the answer is probably no, is it fair to assume that the families who are imminently at risk, and they call DSS or VOA for coordinated entry, are they getting connected to Families Moving Forward prevention dollars? Or like, how are we? Because, the last time we talked, we had some pretty alarming numbers for singles and doubles, Honolulu, and we'll probably be talking about that again soon in our policy and planning meeting. Like, how are people accessing it on the family side? Because I think that's another issue in itself, Colin. Like, who goes where on that tree, that prevention tree. So things like that to help people navigate, and to maybe even look at our coordinated entry process. Are we screening people to be able to be connected to the prevention services that are offered by Families Moving Forward? All of those questions I have. It doesn't seem like right now that's happening, because we had like 20-something families waiting. So
Sharita, I think you're confused about who has prevention dollars. So VOA and Open Table are the two groups that have the prevention dollars.
I thought that there was some COVID prevention dollars in the Families Moving Forward.
Families Moving Forward has ESG COVID.
Oh, it's a white flag.
Emergency shelter, and they're
Okay.
they have
Yeah,
like
I'm confused.
$10,000, and
So-
we're working on that process, because there seems to be some hiccups on how to refer to white flag for the medically vulnerable. So we're trying to get everybody together so that to hear kind of the folks who have to deliver the services, we need to hear from them of how can they best receive our services, and then sort of say, okay, here's what we need to be able to do this well, because they've got stuff coming at them 10 ways from Sunday, and trying to figure out who goes where, when, and who's the best fit, how. Carolyn, shared that she turned away, she had, I think, coordinated entries just saying, oh, call Open Table if you need a hotel. And meanwhile, Street Outreach is referring people to the hotel program who are currently unsheltered and medically vulnerable for hotels during December. So Carolyn's like, I already have 15 people. So coordinated entry is sending people directly to her for those questions. We just need to circle back and figure out what the best process is. Families Moving Forward has a small amount of money. My rough count would say they could probably do 4 to 5 bedrooms for a total of 30 nights out of the cold weather season. And the hope was that Families Moving Forward would be able to use their money first for families before Open Table has to use their prevention money. Then we need to, we also need to verify that the shelter beds are full for families before we start putting families in motels, because there were a couple nights ago, Shayna and I were talking. She's like, oh yeah, we've got an empty bed tonight for a family. We've got somebody coming at 3. Then at 5:30, I got a text saying, hey, nobody came tonight, so we've got an empty bedroom. If a family is experiencing unsheltered homelessness, we could bring them in, but we don't have a process to bring them in after hours, after our intake people leave. And I said, well, you can, if you've got a staff person to open a door, make sure a family's set up in a room, you can always do the intake paperwork the next business day. She's like, oh, we've never done that before. I said, well, you're dealing with exigent circumstances. You can make exceptions in your internal program if you've, to get somebody into a shelter on a cold night. So
I
those are
can
things to be
answer the
sorted out.
question. I can answer the question about prevention, though, Sharita. So because I think you were a bit confused, because VOA is operating the bulk of the prevention dollars, they're doing screening for prevention at the same time as they're doing coordinated entry intakes. And yes, families are being screened for prevention along with everything else. So it's not that those families aren't being screened for prevention. It's either that they came in and they were already homeless, so they weren't eligible, or, they weren't able to prevent them. But yes, the families, just like singles, are being screened for prevention at coordinated entry.
Does coordinated entry have a new process that they're going through in this year that's different than what they were doing last year?
In
For,
regards,
I'm trying to think that I see that somewhere. Because she was saying, I was looking at Helen's thing, and Carolyn was saying that the entry point may not be doing it properly the right way because they keep coming to her when it's nothing that she can help them with.
the process hasn't changed for the front door of the system. It may just be, people through the grapevine hearing about Carolyn, and, things get out. But there hasn't been.
That's most probably what it was. Because I doubt if they would send them somewhere where it's not adequate information for them to get continued help.
Well, per our conversation between me and Carolyn, she's had several referrals. I don't know the number, several phone calls from people who told her that Entry Point gave them her number, and they did not qualify they weren't medically vulnerable, and they weren't families.
Yeah, that's something that has always, Sharita's had that happen a few times over the years as well, that occasionally someone gives out a number. It's not always clear who it was or what the circumstances are. With Carolyn, it's a little bit less clear because it could also be like someone thinks they could benefit from her street outreach services. I don't know. Without, I normally, whenever that happens with anyone, I normally ask them to kind of tell me the client so I can actually look up the specific provider. But that's not a general practice that Entry Point does. It might be, a specific situation or a specific staff member that may have been doing it. It's just hard to know without the details. But usually if it's either the client said that and it's not actually
Right.
true, or sometimes it has happened and it's a single staff member being confused, or just things along those lines. But we've had conversations in the past about not giving out Carolyn's number. It's not the first time this has come up.
And the clients, they give it out to each other, because when I was interviewing them the other day, one person said, well, I'm getting a place to Open Table Ministry. And they was like, oh, well, give me that number. So, it's just like passed on.
Yeah, there was a client just the other day who called, I can't remember if they called Carolyn or called Entry Point, but they said that Rapid Rehousing was paying for their hotel until they got housed, which we know Rapid Rehousing doesn't do.
No.
And they wanted that same service. So you know how things are with the great
Yep.
people, things that they just want to get around.
Okay, so what's the next one we're on? You got all the minutes straight for that one, Colin? You think that would be enough, the 30 minutes?
I think so. I think we've got a pretty full agenda. And we will send this out. So we want an update from the white flag provider, prevention providers, rapid rehousing, and keep it focused on the COVID funded projects. Because otherwise I don't think we would get through everybody in 30 minutes.
Right.
And then we can do, other providers at another meeting, because the ESG funds are more time limited, since those contracts end at the end of June. So that's what we've got at this point.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about, I was just in here thinking about, the invitation. I think it was Sharita had mentioned that for the newbies that are coming in, because there's a lot of people that came on for the city council and everything. So I was thinking about one day, in the future of next year, 2022, we could just send out an open invitation, like she had mentioned, to everyone that's starting a new position as far as within the city of Durham, city and council. And just send out welcome them from HSAC and let them know what we are about or whatever. That'd be something good to do moving forward to a new year.
And I think you bring us into that last agenda item, Angel, and I'm gonna have to leave for an 11 o'clock meeting.
Okay, cool.
And you all can wrap up without me, but that last agenda item sort of, I think, speaks to your point about the annual report.
Okay,
Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to?
you can.
Okay, so the last agenda item, and this is more informational, I don't think we have time to get into it today, but we are required to submit an annual report every year to City Council. And that is due towards the end of January. And this report will come from Angel as our chair to the City Council, but it'll go through the City Council process. So it'll be a report that's submitted and part of a work session and part of the City Council, and it's a motion to receive the report from the HSAC. So essentially, this report is going to be a snapshot of what have we done in the last 12 months, January to December, and successes, what difference have we made in the community. And I wanted to share that with you all. So if there are items that you want to make sure we get captured in that, we can get those incorporated into the document, and I can try and get us a draft. We can work with Angel and try and get a draft ready for the next executive committee, just to review, at least even if it's bullet points that would be incorporated into the document, to see if there's additional bullet points we want to make sure we cover in the final version. We can do that. And if there are things that you're thinking of that, ooh, this was something that HSAC did that was really important to me, send an email to Angel and me, and we'll make sure we get it put into the document. That sound good?
How does that sound, everyone? Hello?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I do need to jump, but if you all want to continue meeting, you're welcome to do so. Madam Chair, may I be excused?
Yes, you may. Thank you, and have a
Thank you.
great.
Thank you so much. Talk to you all soon.
Okay, so we're right about at the end of it, Ruby.
Yeah, I need to make an attendance, a quarterly attendance report. You all.
Everybody said right quick.
What was that? Yeah, I need to make a quarterly attendance report.
Okay, chat. Is there anything else that anyone needs to share at this moment while she's doing that?
I just have a question about tent cities, as I drive around Durham. Never mind.
I have a couple of guys that tent city. I'm really they're very creative. I just gonna put it like that. They're very, very creative, and they rather be there than have to really be putting a home, putting a house. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead, Sharita.
No, I don't know if you guys are aware, but apparently there's a new spot where people are sleeping behind the wash house. Are you familiar with that location, Helen?
Behind the what?
It's behind the wash house is the laundromat across from Hillside High School.
Oh yeah.
Some people staying behind there in the woods.
Yeah.
I didn't know if people knew that. but I just recently discovered that there was such a location and that people were back there.
Sharita, either when there's a new encampment that we're aware of, I like to let street outreach know because they're usually looking for people and that they can't find. Either would you mind emailing Valeria, or if not, you can give me the address and I can do it.
Sure, I'll email it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a few new encampments that have popped up. There's a new one behind Home Depot as well that just popped up in the last month or so that I'm aware of.
Cornelia, are you aware? I don't know if it was resolved. I saw one on the 147, the exit 11, sort of in that roundabout exit, like in the trees there. I don't know if that's gotten resolved.
What's the cross street there? When I get emails, I usually get them by cross street.
It's either Highway 55 or Austin Avenue.
No, I'm not aware of that one.
I don't know if it's been there. I've seen it. I've seen tents. So when you take that exit going back downtown, on Highway 55, not Highway 55. Yeah, 55 Austin Avenue. They're in that roundabout, the exit going back downtown.
Okay.
They're in those trees there. I don't know if they've cleared it out yet, but I've seen it on a pretty consistent basis.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty publicly available site. So I would assume that Street Outreach is aware of that one, but we haven't gotten any specific requests from like 211 or anything about that site. But I think that's an intermittent site that's been inhabited kind of on and off over the years, if I'm thinking of the correct location.
Okay.
Is anyone affiliated with this guy was telling me where he had built him a little house over there by some railroad tracks. I'm not familiar with too much in Durham. Are you Sharita or Dr. Burge?
Which
It's
one is that now?
Tracks. It's some railroad tracks. I guess it's over on the east side. And he was telling me how he had he built a house back there, built shelter back there right by the track, or they be in those empty rail cars.
Oh, over by the rail yard.
Yeah, I mean, he just said the rail tracks. I'm not familiar with it.
The rail yard is off of Angel Avenue.
Angel, that with an A.
Yeah, it's over by Angel Avenue. And so there were some people that were in that area, and then they started doing construction. And I think they moved from where the bridge was to a wooded lot that's across over, like you're going toward, is that Pettigrew?
So that's a spot area that's been known. I've had that spot on 2 years in a row with my team for I can't think of it. The night when we do the count, the point in time count. So we do go all over there, like where the rail yard is, and over there, or that little corner, kind of like directly across from it on Pettigrew by where the Edgemont Elms and all that is. We go all through there.
Right. Hey, Ruby, is number 3 Michael? Is that our former social services guy? But his was Beckett, right?
Right, that's Beckett. Michael Best is our formerly homeless representative.
He still
okay.
never with Ruby.
What was that?
You still never got in touch with him?
I did get in touch with him. I was able to call him. He gave me a different email address to get in touch with him. I followed up with him, but he hasn't attended any of our meetings.
Oh, okay. So is he on the board? He's still listed as on the board, or
He's technically on the board, but right now he's in violation of attendance.
So do we have to notify? Do we have to notify somebody that he hasn't been coming and open that up for a new person?
Right, I need to let them know. So I was given this quarterly attendance report, and because he is the formerly homeless representative, I wanted to give you all an opportunity to discuss it. I don't know if he may not have the time or availability to do so, but he hasn't attended any meetings since he was appointed on the board. And so-
Did he say anything about having technology issues, Ruby?
No, I asked him, did you have any issues, would you have any issues attending virtually? And he gave me an email address to send him the link to stuff to. So he just hasn't attended.
Do we also have a call-in ability on our
Yes, once you
Okay.
register for the meetings, you can call in.
So at this point, he's attended no meetings.
Right.
None. Okay.
What do we do?
Well, at this point, he's missed more than what's allotted for attendance, and so I would need to let the city know. Let the county know that he's missed all of the meetings and that they would take steps after that, since they were the ones to appoint him.
Okay.
So do we have to vote on something, or you're just letting us know we have this
No,
one
this is-
person that's not in compliance and that you are now gonna move forward and notify the city?
Yes, it's just a report and update of all attendance for all members.
And what's the percentage requirement?
I believe
It's more than 50%.
Okay.
And less than 3 unexcused absences. Do we want to request proxies for Janine and Wanda Page since their attendance is so low?
Janine is already a proxy.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's
She's
a
a
proxy.
proxy for.
Ben Rose, but she doesn't need to be. Ben Rose could just formally appoint her because they have to meet, so it's not like she has to be a proxy. But he appointed her as a proxy, not as a formal member.
Any more questions about the attendance report?
Nope. Everyone good on this?
Do we notify the members that are out of compliance that their attendance is below the standard?
We can.
That might be something for the group to discuss.
Wasn't it something we did last year like this? Didn't we do this last year as well? I think. I
That's-
remember.
That's
I
my
remember-
memory as well, Angel, that we notified
Alright.
them. That's my
I'm
memory
sorry.
as well, that we notified them. Yeah, that's my memory.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because I remember going through this and a lot of people, because I remember from Duke, they hadn't been there. So that's how that one came up. I do remember something like this. So Ruby, are you the one that notifies them?
It would need
I
to come
think
from
it's-
you, I think, Angel.
Oh,
Or is it the
oh,
secretary?
Oh, or the secretary, that's right, yeah.
Dr. Birch?
Yeah, so we can draft
Yes.
some language and it'll go out as with the secretary.
Okay, great.
Yeah, Ruby drafted the language and I'll pretend that I wrote it.
Hey, there you go. Hey, my way or the highway. Going how you need it. Amen.
Okay, that's all I have. Any other questions?
So it looks like that's it. Now, unless there's any other questions, is that like the last one that's on the agenda? So you have the thing written out, Ruby? I guess it
Have
was
what,
in
have what written up?
the agenda for HSAC. Everything is,
Yeah, I have it.
I
And I
know
think
you
Ruby
have,
have it. Yeah, and I've got a copy and I think Ruby has it too.
okay, great. Thank you.
Lady Trip has been very quiet today.
Quiet day.
This is my last meeting. I'm just waiting.
Okay, so I guess with nothing else being said, is it time to adjourn?
Yeah, just ask for a motion to adjourn.
Okay, well, ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion.
Thank you,
Second.
and thank you,
Rita.
Rita. And thank you everyone for the continuous help. I'm gonna get it right on the last day. I'm gonna not need anyone's help. I'm gonna do it blind.
We
Practice
all
makes
need help.
perfect. Everyone have a great day. I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Be blessed.
Take care.
Bye.